Yeah, so I would sort of like think about the distance between like where is their value in this AI stack, and obviously the model itself that is trained is really important because none of this value existed prior to the existence of these models. But there are, roughly speaking, six other layers that I would point to within a given business that are worth thinking about as places that work needs to be done in order for value to be captured. So there's the model, then there's the data substrate, which is just all of the source of truth systems and how it gets captured and how it is served for people to ask and answer questions. And then there's the context and the semantic layer that sits on top of that. This is, on our previous episode we were talking about what Snowflake and Databricks were talking about. They were talking primarily about the context and semantic layer because they're already very firmly embedded in that data substrate. Then you have governance and identity on top of that. Who gets access to what? How do you ensure that the actions that are being taken are allowed to be taken by the different people in the organization and by the agents that are acting on behalf of them? Then there's evaluation and observability. Once you have agents or models taking action inside of your business, you need a way of understanding what is the performance of those agents and how do you observe what is going on so that it can be improved. How can it be made more efficient? How can it be made more effective? How can it and all of that relies on infrastructure that gives you visibility and allows you to evaluate before you go to production with something that doesn't work. Then there's the orchestration layer, which is, how do you ensure that all of the things that need to run are running in the correct way and observe the correct dependencies between them, and you don't run into situations where something is running that depended on something else that needed to run but didn't run successfully. And then the last layer, and the one that gets talked about possibly the least because it's the most amorphous, is the process and change layer. This is these are the people that whose jobs need to change and whose approach to their jobs need to change, and organizations whose structure needs to change, and ways of evaluating human performance that needs to change. There's just all of this organizational stuff that needs to get worked out in order for all of the other six pieces to really work.